Well, good morning. This is the 9th of July. Lovely day today. We've just left Colaforte, which is that small island, San Pietro, off southwest Sardinia. We're now heading to Tunisia. I picked up a new crew guy who joined me yesterday evening after a long journey from Berlin, and it took him 2 days, 24 hours. So he's pretty shattered when he arrived last night. His name's Patrick. He's not really a sailor, he's never sailed before, so it's a new big challenge for him. But he's keen, and that's all, and it's nice to have a little bit of company on board with me. So I'll introduce you to Patrick. Okay, Patrick, how are you today?
I'm totally excited. It's super nice, super good wind we have. We had a good start, as I understood from Paul, and yeah, let's see what will it be. I'm pretty excited. And
good. Yeah. I mean, Patrick's actually he's actually living in Berlin, working and living in Berlin, but he used to live more over towards the Netherlands when he grew up. What was the place you grew up in?
I grew up in Ulsen. It's a very small village, but it's close to Groningen in Holland, I would say.
That's northern Holland, isn't it? Anyway, we've got a nice day today. We've got nice winds, and fingers crossed we'll have a nice sail across to Bizerte. It's not so bad when there's two of us that we can take turns on the helm when we're under engine, but when I'm on my own I definitely need an auto helm. There's no way I can sit in the helm over long distances if I'm under engine, you know, so hopefully next week it will be working okay again. But it's good experience for Patrick.
Very good. Good handcraft work, right?
What with 13th of July, we've had a wonderful sail from Cagliari, the capital of Sardinia. We've had wonderful winds. The winds have been round about between 12 and 16 knots. We're bombing along at the moment, doing about 5 knots, and we should be into Bizerte, the main port of Tunisia, around about 5 hours time. Just about coming into Bizerte now. We've just got to go down the coast here. It's quite windy at the moment. We've got 18 knots. We've had a really good sail, as I mentioned earlier. So we're not too far away, about 3 miles from the harbour now, from Berlin. This is the very first time he's done sailing, and to be fair, he's taken to it like a duck to water and really pleased with everything. He was taking the motion sickness tablets, and he's had no problem at all with seasickness. We've had some good sailing conditions, and he really loves it, so it's been great. So okay, Patrick, what do you think of the sailing on Stella Polaris?
It's for me the greatest experience ever I had. I did a lot of things, but nothing was great like this journey, this adventure together with Captain Paul. It's amazing, and definitely not the last time on the water, I'm pretty sure. I will come back.
That's great, and really well done. And he's still on the boat, he hasn't left me yet. I'm not always that easy to be with. But yeah, I've enjoyed Patrick's company, he's been great. We get on really well together. It's been a pleasure to be with, an interesting guy, intelligent, and we've had some really nice conversations together.
I enjoyed company with Paul. He's a great teacher. I learned a lot, and yeah, it was an amazing time. I enjoyed every second of the journey together with Paul. It's great.
Well, good morning. It's 22nd of July. I'm actually still in Sardinia. Patrick, the crew guy, joined me. Well, let's see, it's over maybe 2 weeks ago now at Colaforte, and our plan was to head out to Tunisia, which we did. Unfortunately, maybe 20 odd miles out from Sardinia, we had trouble with the what they call it's a tiller autopilot, electrical tiller autopilot, which is an essential piece of kit for me when I'm solo sailing. So I said to Patrick, look, I think we've got to go back and get this sorted because it is very important. So we came back to the capital, where there's an authorised Simrad dealer here, quite local to the marina where we came into. Unfortunately, these things all take extra time, and so we spent a few days here trying to get things sorted out with the dealer, and he said that he'd order a new internal fluxgate compass. So Patrick said, well, we could sail down to Tunisia, which I said, yeah, we can do that. It just means we're going to have to do quite a certain amount of helming if we can't use the wind vane, you know, which is what we did. Unfortunately, our experience in Bizerti in regard to the customs and all the paperwork, it was quite a lot of aggro. So my plan was originally to go around to Carthage or Tunisia, City of Busayed, but with all the hassle we had with the authorities, I said to Patrick, look, I can't stick this any longer, we'll just head back to Sardinia, which is what we did. Simrad electric water helm, it's not holding a course from 120 degrees, so I'm having to use the wind vane, which under motor as well, because there's not a lot of wind, and it's sort of keeping an approximate course, you know. It saves me having to be on the tiller all the time. Yeah, what I'm going to have to try and do is do it what they call a calibration. You go round in a circle. It's got to be pretty calm, and you've got to go round in a certain speed, and then it calibrates the compass. So it is holding a course on some headings, but certainly not on the heading I'm on now. It just sits there, it doesn't do anything. Normally the piston will move back and forward slowly, you know, maintaining the course. Yeah, under the wind vane, which you really need wind for, I've tweaked it as best I can, and it tends to move around a lot, you know, but it's sort of maintaining an approximate course. It's the best I can do, really, and otherwise I'm up there all the time nursing it, you know, and it's very hot. I don't have an awning the cockpit, you know, so I'm sitting out in the sun, the nose is getting burnt. Anyway, it moves around, and yeah, pretty good really, considering.
Dammi una gussolza, cadevo vaghettosa.
It's the 31st of July. I'm going along quite nicely using Gustav the Aries wind vane. It's been holding a course. I was actually able to catch up on some sleep through the night, especially the early hours. Yeah, I dropped right off. Don't know how long for. There's a bit of shipping around, but not a lot really. Oh, the secret with successful sailing is having the right winds coming in the right direction. I originally planned to go on the northern side of Sicily via the Aeolian Islands and down the Messina Straits. Now when I saw the winds, I thought, no, I think I'll go down the southern part of Sicily, which is what I'm doing, and I'll go into the marina there at Ragusa, and the winds have been, you know, really nice winds, and I've been able to use the wind Yeah, I'm a long-haired lover from Liverpool. Need a haircut now. I meant to get a haircut in the capital, but I was too busy doing other things, and I'll try and get a haircut when I can. As you see, I'm going to go down the southern coast of Sicily, and Marina Ragusa is just about here, and then from there I'll cross over to the Peloponnese here, to this island here, and then from there go on to Rhodes here. So it's quite a big trip. Well, I think the winds, you get the winds coming down here, and you get strong winds coming down here as well, so I've just got to pick winds in my favour, you know, for good sailing. It's the morning of the 1st of August, and this is the first island of the small group of western islands of Sicily. I think they're called the Aegean group, and this is Isola Marittimo. So we're just heading towards the southern end of Sicily, and we're going to head on down to the Marina di Ragusa, which is more or less at the southeastern end of Sicily. Well, it's a beautiful morning here in the Mediterranean Sea. It's been quite a nice, relaxing sailing passage from Sardinia. Been sailing all the way. I've got the engine on now this morning just to charge up the batteries. I put them on for about half an hour, well, about 15 minutes. Just been quite relaxing, really. Catching up on some sleep as well, which is nice. Haven't seen a lot of traffic. One or two big ships passing. They mainly seem to be these car transporters, you know, the Grimaldi line. So anyway, it's probably going to be another day or so before I get into Ragusa, and I'm not going particularly fast when I'm sailing, probably about 3 knots, 2.5 to 3 knots, but it's nice and relaxing, you know. This is the southern part of Sicily. It's quite different to the northern part. The more northern part of Sicily is far more mountainous. This is a lot flatter here, right along this coastline. So it's quite a different topography to the northern part, and that's where the volcanoes are. You've got Etna and Stromboli and Lugano. But here it's just much flatter, you know. Well, in the early hours of this morning I dropped the mainsail down. There's no wind. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll try and see if I can calibrate this Simrad electrical auto helm. Go around 1.5 times. And I did this. Didn't really happen. I did get it bleeping, thinking it was okay, but when I went back on course again, it still wouldn't hold the course. So this is the southwestern end of Sicily. Just about coming into the harbour shortly. It's round this headland here. Well, good morning. It's the 4th of August. I'm now actually in Ragusa, well, the Marina di Ragusa, which is on the southwest coast, on the southeast coast of Sicily. I arrived on Tuesday night in the dark. Unfortunately, the guys the deck guys, they actually came out in a rib to show me in. It's always a bit tricky when you come into harbours at night because of the background lights, you know, it's quite hard to pick up the reds and the greens. But I'm heading off this morning to the Peloponnese, so it's about a 3 or 4 day sail from here. So I thought I'd just show you around the little touristy town. It's a nice town, quite an affluent area, lots of nice villas here. The marina's huge. I'll just show you around the marina. Yeah, it's the largest marina. I think it's a fairly newish marina. Facilities are good. I mean, the showers and toilets are okay. Staff are very good, very nice staff. So yeah, now evidently a lot of people winter here in this particular marina. The fees are quite reasonable for my boat. For 6 months there's only €1,600. Yeah, there's lots of nice villas here along the front. So I take it it's it's a pretty affluent area. Very popular for with the locals. The beaches were packed yesterday when I went along the front. But everything's very compact. Everything is the old town of Ragusa, which is about 30 minutes away on the bus, and that's supposed to be a very nice, about 1700. It was, I think they mentioned something about an earthquake. I mean, don't forget, one of the biggest volcanoes here in the Mediterranean was Etna, which is on the northeastern end of the island. The locals like to do their exercises in the morning. Mind you, some of them are on their bikes as well, but they're electric bikes, you know, not quite the same as when you're pedalling. But you've got to watch it because they're speeding along, doing this speed walking, you know. Small piazza here. Actually, this is where the barber was, the small barber shop I went into, and the old guy cut my hair. Yeah, it's a nice little town. It's quiet at the moment because it's quite early, but in the day it gets packed because there's lots of holiday makers here for the beaches. Yeah, this morning, just before first light, it must have been about 5:15. It was very surreal. It must have been the way the cloud was. I could see a star. It wasn't a star, it was a planet, very bright. But it looked like I was heading towards land, so I had to double check the compass course and thinking, am I going the right way? But I had the real surreal feeling that I was sailing on a cloud. It was very strange. Never had anything like that before. Obviously when I looked down I could see the water, but I didn't feel as if I was sailing on water. It felt as if I was sailing on clouds. So it was an optical illusion. It was just before the sun come up over the horizon, and it created this very surreal feeling. I stood there for about a quarter of an hour looking at it and thinking, oh, this is really weird. Huge container ships motoring away, probably doing about 20 knots, powering on. Just sit down, let's see it better.
mezzo al mare, non si condisce più col sale. Guarda il bene e non ci riesce più a scaldare.
Our little friend on the bow here who's just joined us, a new crew member. Oh, he's gone. He'll be back again though. He shouldn't be out here, he's got blown out to sea. Yeah, he's still there, he's on the handrail now. He's obviously tired. So we've got a little crew member, bit of company. I mean, they are quite an expensive piece of kit and you don't use a lot of kerosene. When you pump it up, it vaporizes. You have to preheat it. I preheat it with one of these. I'll show you how I heat it now. Just got this preheating first. It's a bit fiddly, that's the only thing. It's a bit of a... I give it a minute to preheat, so anyway, I'll show you. I've got plenty of pressure in the gauge now, so that's good. You need to pressurize it to get the fuel to go up into the burners. Now this is a tailor's stove, this little tank that you fill with kerosene and this little pressure gauge, and you have a pump here. You take that out actually to top it up and then you pump it and it puts pressure in. But you need a certain amount of pressure to get the burners to go, and there's one in the burner down. Just show you at the back. Anyway, I had a problem. What was the problem? I'd overfilled the tank by accident, and it seemed to have an effect on the pressure. That obviously you're supposed to have a little bit of air at the top of the tank to maintain pressure. When you pump it, it's like a pump that goes up and down. Here, I'll show you. This is it. There. Anyway, what had happened is it lost all the pressure, you know, and at the bottom of the plunger, when you take it out, there's a leather washer, and I thought, well, I'll have a look at the other one. I've got another one for the heater, and I changed that and it didn't make any difference, you know, and I thought, oh, right. I had a little bit of pressure at the bottom and I thought, well, I'll just see how it goes. So preheat. Some of them get hold of the camera and do this and turn it on all at the same time, you know. So I'll preheat it normally for about a minute. It's not like ordinary gas where you just turn it on and light it. But the thing is, you don't use it, you know, it's probably a lot cheaper than gas, it lasts a lot longer, you know. So I normally give this about a minute. I may have to turn off the camera again, got to turn the knob. If you don't preheat it enough, you get a really big flame, which is not quite dangerous, you know. You've got to make sure. I give it a minute, a good minute, preheating. Might be able to do this. There we go. That's it there. So, got it fixed. Really pleased about that. Anyway, we were starting to get right down. It was only about half a psi, and I thought, oh, we're going to have to do something about this because I'm not going to be able to cook. So I had a look through all the spares, and fortunately I did find one leather washer, and I changed it over, and I thought, fingers crossed, hope this works, and it did. but they've got a new setup now where you don't need the plunger. You have that, they call it a Schrader valve, where you can use a bike pump. You screw it into the top of the tank and you put your bike pump on there. And I thought that'd be a better setup, you know, than having to use those leather washers. And anyway, so I've got myself out the proverbial. I've had a few little mishaps. I've still got a problem with my pump, my water pump. For some reason it's not pumping well. It does, and then it sort of runs out, and then the tank, the hot water tank, overheated, and that was a bit of a leak on one of the plastic tubes. Redid it with the O-ring. Being plastic, it had obviously expanded a bit, you know, so but that's not like critical. The critical thing is the cooker, you know, being able to cook food and hot drinks, you know. So anyway, I've sorted that out, so that's great. Yeah, the problem with boats is always something going wrong. Last night, the main sheet here, I'll show you. Turn this round. Here, this came out, and all I heard was a bang, bang, bang. Now, what's going on there? You know, came up. I had to put another rope on and quieten the main down. It's quite hard when you've got the mainsail up to hang on to this. There's a lot of pressure on it, you don't realise. And as I say, I changed this one because this was going at the end here, just at the bottom, was wearing through. So, and then just turn the camera off, show you something else. I had a new cover put on here, and it was glued in, and the lady didn't pick up the stitching, so that started to come apart. So that's another job I had to do there. I had to stitch more here. I was a bit disappointed about that. I've only had that done quite recently. The old saying, you've got to do a job, if you want a job doing properly, you have to do it yourself. And this is the problem. Quite nice winds. 12 knots, sailing along quite nicely, not very fast, on my passage to the Peloponnese. Yeah, when things start going wrong, on your own, soloing, a little bit of a psychological battle. You think, oh, that's gone and that's gone. So what you've got to do, the secret is being able to fix things, you know, even if it's only a temporary fix. So, and when you do fix something, it's a psychological win, and you think, oh, that's good, I've sorted that, it's great. So this is very important when you're soloing, you know. 253 miles to run to the Peloponnese. Well, good morning, it's the 9th of August. I'm about 112 miles from the main Peloponnese Greek. It's like an isthmus. It is obviously connected. That's where the Corinth Canal is, at the northern end. Then you have Sparta, and it was a small island. It's just off the south of the three fingers of the Peloponnese, and I'm going to go in there. So I should arrive. Let's see. Well, it won't be. I think I probably have got another night at sea. Arrive the. Let's see. What day is it today? Tuesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Probably Wednesday. Maybe Thursday. Sometime Thursday. And then I've got about a 2.5 day sail to Rhodes, where I'm picking up a crew person. But that's not until the 27th of August. So quite a good bit of time. Winds got up last night, up to about 20 knots. I had to put another reef in the mainsail. So I have 3 reefs in the main. It's probably too, could do with shaking one out now, because the wind's dropped a bit. But probably just leave it as it is. Increase the jib. I was on deck all pretty well most of the night. Had a bit of a sleep this morning, still feeling tired, you know. Yeah, overall doing pretty well. I've sailed most of the way, done a little bit of motoring, only a small amount of motoring really, which is great. So I'm not quite on course. The wind, it's come round. It's still sort of a northerly, but more northeasterly, you know. So I'm very close to the wind. So that's pushing me further south than Crete. But things change. I'm still going along nicely though. It was quite a long passage from, let's see, from Sardinia to Rhodes. Let me see what mileage will that be. Just have a quick look, check. Yeah, it's 955 miles, so it's quite a long way. When I left Calgary, the capital, I went into Marina Capitana to try and sort out the electrical auto helm Simrad, which I never did. It's still not working. From there I went to Marina Ragusa, which is on the more or less the southeast end of Sicily, and then from there I left there and went to the anchorage, small anchorage, just at the very end of southern Sicily. And then from there, my glasses are steaming up, from there to the Peloponnese, and then from the Peloponnese to Rhodes. So quite a long track altogether. I've nearly done the full length of the Med by the time I get to Rhodes. I'm still undecided what I'm going to do once I get to the Aegean. We'll see. I mean, it seems to have been doing a lot of sailing, so what I find is it's just starting to catch up on me, this disruptive sleep all the time, you know. But it is good training, to be fair, and certainly a good shakedown, checking the boat where things aren't quite right and need to sort out, which has been a few things, to be honest. Oh, well, I've just sighted land. I can see the outline of the Peloponnese Peninsula. So, really on course. I've had, last so many hours I've had steady northerly wind of about 9 knots, which is getting me along quite nicely. Just at the sunrise now. Big ball of energy coming up. It's an amazing thing, the sun. A lot of shipping here. This is the southern Peloponnese, and there's the gap between the Peloponnese and Crete, so that's a fairly narrow gap, so there's a lot of shipping, so I'm going to have to keep on watch all night tonight, so the amount of shipping coming through. Yeah, you can see that that narrow gap, and then there's a small island in between. I'm going to Nissos Kytheria. And as you can see, there's a small island, then you've got the northern coast of Crete, so it's very narrow. I would have thought there'd been a proper traffic separation scheme for the shipping, because there's a lot of shipping coming back and forward. I mean, these container ships, they really power on. I don't know what sort of speed he's doing. They don't hang around, they're probably on very tight schedules. I mean, it looks like he's doing something like about 20 knots. Lots of container ships I've seen and bulk carriers, and also these car transporters. All shipping now has these big bulbs on the front of the bow. It's obviously to cause less drag and resistance through the water. You never see ships now without that bulb on the front. Well, it's slightly different in speed. I'm just being propelled along by the wind. I've sailed most of the way from Sicily to the Peloponnese, and the speeds average between about 1.5 knots to about 5 knots, probably doing about 3.5 to 3.8. You know, I've got all the time in the world. You know, I'm not in a hurry to get containers to a port, working on a tight time schedule. This is the trouble with the modern world, isn't it? Here's another vessel coming up behind now, but that looks like a car transporter. Yeah, so it's very busy here. The channels them through between the northern coast of Crete and the Peloponnese, and then don't forget you've got all those small Aegean islands, you know, as well. There's lots and lots of them all the way, you know, to Rhodes. This is one of these car transporters. Quite ugly, aren't they? Like a big box. This is part of the Peloponnese peninsula.
Tanto e solo, oh mamma nostra, dai su pelo in zona perfetta, e tranquillo chi la
Oh, we're into the Aegean now, and the Aegean's famous for strong winds. Which is great because get the boat moving. It's a bit wild out there at the moment. It's a bit of a baptism of fire for me in the Aegean Sea. Wow. Got 20 odd knot winds. I'm going into the weather as well. So I'm really testing the Vancouver. Yeah, a serious bit of sailing this. I'm coming into the Aegean island archipelago, and this is it's called an Efi or something like that, and I passed Santorini early hours this morning, so I've got to keep a watch out for all these islands. But I'm heading up to Leros. But I've had a good sail overnight. The wind did pipe up a bit. It's what, about 12 knots now. Wind's more or less on the beam, which is quite nice. Quite a hazy day today. As you can see, there's a multitude of islands, and when you look at them, I'll take up a film in a moment, they're very, very steep. Anchorage wise, when you go into certain islands, it's very steep too, which is makes it, you know, a bit more tricky. You've obviously got to go in somewhere with the proper bay where it shallows out a bit more, but because it's on a plate boundary, I have a feeling a lot of these are volcanic in origin, you know. I mean, look at Santorini there, you know, that looks like a sunken volcano. That's what happens in the Pacific. They over the eons they eroded away the caldera, and it ends up then just being a reef, a barrier reef. But here they're still in that mid stage, you know. Not far from Leros now, just a bit further up. Got good winds and a really good sail. Oh, this is Leros now, just coming into the entrance. I'm going to go into Lacca Marina. I did ring them up, say they've got space. I was supposed to be coming in tomorrow, but because the winds were so good, I'm here a lot quicker than I expected. There is an anchorage at the very bottom, but it would be nice to go into this marina. So it was Angela who recommended. She's got her boat here, her Area 38 in Leros Marina, which is just across the bay. So she said it's good and it's well protected, tucked away, so I thought, yeah, it would be good, especially with these fairly strong winds. This is Lacca Marina in Leros, the small island north of Kos.
Que te quiero verde, de viento verde en rama, y el barco sobre la mar.